I then will be somewhat putting back together different panels and parts and tops. Once this goes in, Mistress has all of her soul in, and hopefully I can get that on with not too many swear words. So where they meet, I'm going to put some butyl tape between them. The next thing is to make the little bearers that this shower sump is going to sit on. Well, another pivotal moment in the fit out progress of Mistress. I'm about to put on the top coats, the polyurethane top coat for this aft part 3 painting, and I can say once this is done, I then will be somewhat putting back together different panels and parts and tops into Mistress, and I do feel the result is going to be one of those whoa moments. So I'm pretty keen to get the top coating on this aft part 3 area, because getting into putting things back together, and which will be for good, is really going to make, I think, a very bold statement about how the look in Mistress is going to end up.
Through the wind, I give in. I'm storming, breaking like the tide. Every time goes by, standing waiting, patient, like an old power stage, right here in this valley.
You beauty! It's time to get that sole piece in for the heads here. It's outside here, it's all prepared. 3 coats of epoxy on all the edges and 3 coats on most of that. One piece there was 2 coats, but that's ready to go in. Now what I'm going to do, as I've mentioned before, this is going to be fiberglassed in afterwards. So the bonding for this to go down, it really just needs to be held down firmly on top of the whole floors and in place until the Ffffeeewww goes off. So all I'm going to do is give things a bit of a wipe down here, sand the paint on the top of the whole floors, then put some Ffffeeewww on top, put the piece in and just put some weight on it until that goes off. And as I've said before, another little exciting moment because this is the last sole piece. Once this goes in, Mistress has all of her sole in. So now that these tops are going in for good, I can get back to the plumbing. What I need to do, because these 2 sinks, which will be joined with the plumbing, need to go through a bulkhead, this bit of hose which will connect them has to be passed through a hole in this panel, and for that reason it is going to be a little bit tricky to get that connected. But what I'm going to do is use the heat gun to heat that up, make it really pliable, and hopefully I can get that on with not too many swear words. Then once that's in place, I can connect the rest of the plumbing, which will go out in that through-hole fitting. And because all of this is inside of these cabinets, I'll get it all in place and I'll show you what it looks like later. Right, well that's the drainage plumbing done for those sinks. Now I can put this other galley top on, which I'm looking forward to. So what I'm going to do, where they meet, in other words where they join, obviously there's 2 pieces and that joint will need to be sealed. The joint I've made where they meet is basically a bevel, pretty much a 45-degree bevel. So where they meet, I'm going to put some butyl tape between them, And then on the top surface, right along that line where they do meet, I'm going to use the silicone sealer like I've used with this top here. This should be pretty straightforward. I'll put the butyl tape in, a couple of dobs of Fix 15 on the angle there where the top will sit, put the top in place and then screw it from underneath, just like I did with this one. Well, it was really nice to get that cabin sole piece into the heads area. And now the next thing is to make the little bearers that this shower sump is going to sit on. They're going to be a little bit tricky because each corner is a different height. And of course, with the hull plating itself, there is a slight curve there. So typical, complex curves to deal with in Mistress. So what I did was I set the sump up horizontal and measured what the gaps were between the bottom of the sump box and the hull plating at each corner. As you can see here, it's marked with some marking tape. I've just written those numbers on to hopefully make it easier when I'm making those little bearers. I can try them out to get them in the ballpark, and of course that'll need to be checked in place. And just to say, man, the heat's been turned up here on the sunny coast. The end of November, we had some pretty hot weather, but honestly, this summer has been more normal and typical on the sunny coast. A lot more rain, not as extreme heat, and the place has gone green like it used to be. We've probably had a good decade or more years of rather unusual weather here. It seems to have returned to normal. The greenery's back, as are all the waves. Woo! The next episode, I sit down with the affable Ross from Life on the Hulls to quiz his great knowledge about fiberglassing, and we chat about all sorts of other boating and life topics. Join us then for this fun podcast. Oh, Mr. Ross, Mr. Boardman, Mr. Life on the Hulls, my goodness, here we are. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I didn't think it was going to be as tricky as it was.
I've never actually done a live or a recorded podcast like this ever, so I think you've done really well.
For the project you're doing, man, God, I just take my hat off to you. I mean, your boat is just monstrous.
Dead right. I mean, I'm watching you do your flooring, and I just, my God, the work
What's
you
he
put into
done?
that.
Can I ask you to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and please check out my website. And of course, leave a comment because I like reading what you have to say.